So I'm starting the recording. So to recap yesterday's activities, we are discussing about the client administration, right? As part of the client administration, so we have discussed about the how to create the client, right? How to create the client in SCC4, right? Then point number 2, we discussed about the logical systems. It's very important to identify the client. Then the third point, then how to log into the newly created client, how to log into the newly created client. So these three topics, we discussed. So these three topics we discussed, right? So how to log into the newly created client. So and all these things we discussed, right? So this is the yesterday's class, right? So SCC4 client creation, BDLS, so logical systems for the sale, or BD54, and how to log into the newly created client. So there is a profile parameter changes. We have to do that one yesterday. So we have done and practiced, right? This is what we have done it, right? So let's log into the newly created client. So initially we don't have any users. So then what I can do, I can log in with SAP star with the pass is the password. Then I logged into the newly created client. I logged into the newly created client, right? So this is the one. So we have to log in. So just 1 minute. 1 person asked meeting link. Let me send the meeting link. Okay, sorry. Yes, right. So we logged into the newly created client, but there is no data, right? Just we created the client, which means there is no data inside of the client, right? There is no data inside of the client. We don't have any data. So in this case, what we have to do, if you go SEC4 is the transaction code, you can see a number of client created by the our team, right? So yesterday a number of client created. So then once you change the parameter, you can log into the all the clients. Any client you can log in, but there is no data. Only SAP star with pass is allowed. With pass is the password is allowed, right? For the 100 client, right? So 100 client. So like that. So we created the client like that. We created the client and we logged into the newly created client. These are the client settings. So that is what. So we have done it, right? So then what next? Yeah, after the creation of the client, what next to do? We have to do that one, right? So here, so you created the client. See here, there is no data in the newly created client. There is no data in the inside of the system. Just you created the client, but there is no data. There is no users. Then how to do that one? So we can. So you did the all the work in the one of the client, but you need similar data in the other systems also. What you can do? Will you go ahead and create it, and will you copy from other client? So if you create it again, it will take maybe suppose 2 months, 1 month it will take it. Why? Because in client main 100 client at 001 client, you did the all those things. It taken the all the customization 1 month, and also if you do the same activity, then it will take the another 1 month. Instead of that, what you can do, you can copy the data. You can copy the data from one client to another client. That is the one of the methods SAP provided to us. You no need to create again. If you have data already exist in other clients, just you can copy from other client to this client. You can copy the data. right? So that we can perform it. So that's the reason SAP introduced the client copies concept. They have introduced it. So in the client copies concept, we have the three types. One is the local client local client copy. Then second one is the remote client copy. Second one is the remote remote client copy. Then third one is the client export and import. Third one is the client export and import option. Client export and import option, we have to do that one. So these are the options we have, right? Either the local client copy, remote client copy, or client export or import. We have to choose it. We have to perform it. So these are the options we have in the SAP systems to perform the. So why we need to copy the data? Sir, I have already, so suppose example, if you take the outside of the SAP example, I have 2 GB of in my mobile, I have the 2 GB of one movie is there. So in another person, they want similar movie. Whether you need to download it or you can copy, right? You can copy from my mobile. That's I can initiate the Bluetooth transfer, then I can send the same movie to that person, right? What's there? It will go, right? Again, you need to download it and it will take a lot of time. So that's why I can initiate the copy, then the movie it will went to the that person. So here we are saving the time, and also we are saving the time, right? So we are not sure where again you are developing the time. If any mistakes, then the time the code will be corrupted, right? So that's why SAP introduced the client copy techniques, which means you can, if your already data is there, you can copy the data from one client to another client. You can copy the data. So as of now, our system is looks like this. So this is our SAP. Here we have triple zero client and 001 client, and you have the 100 client also you have created. So but in the 00001 are the master clients, right? Master clients. 00001 are the master clients. But you have created the 100 client, 400 client, 500 client you created. So but here there is no data. But here in these clients, by default you will get the data, and as of now we worked in this client, right? We logged into the 001 client, we worked it, but there is a data we created. Then how can I get this data to my 100 client? Why? Because when you create the new client, when you log into the new client, so even there is no user, there is no settings, nothing is there. Then so how can you get the data then? So there is an option to perform from client copy from this client to this client. We can perform the client copies. We can perform the client copies, right? So locally you are performing the client copy. Suppose locally you are on the C drive, in the C drive to D drive, you are copying the data within the laptop only. You are copying the data from C drive to D drive, you are copying the data, right? In the laptop only, you are copying the C drive to D drive data, you are copying the data, right? So that is the local client copy, right? So or within the C drive only, you are copying from downloads to download, desktop to download, you are copying the data. So that is the local client copy. If I talk about the SAP language, so what is mean by local client copy? So local client copy means, now let's talk about the LCC, local client copy. Local client copy means, so locally copying the client data from one client to another client. One client to another client is called the local client copy. So locally you are copying the one client data within the system, copying the data from one client to another client is called the local client copy. Suppose example, if I talk about the one outside of the SAP example, within the Hyderabad, so you are copying the data from, suppose like Vanasalipuram to LB Nagar, or Vanasalipuram to Miyapur or Kokatpalli, one place to another place, right? Within the city only, you are copying the data from one client to another client is called the local client copy. So here, so data you are copying, we have to do that work. So then what is the procedure to perform this activity? So what is the procedure you have to perform the activity? So whatever the data is there here, whatever the users are there here, whatever the passwords are there here, whatever the configurations are there here, all will come to the 100 client. Why? Because our configurations, our data, users, passwords are the client dependent, which means only specific to that client, especially the user data and master data specific to that client only. Then we need to get that data to the 100 client. Why? Because we cannot work in the 100 these clients. Why? Because these are the SAP clients, and we cannot use those clients for the our business purpose. So that we can, so we are created the new client and we need to log in that client, right? How to create the new client and how to log in? Yesterday we know, we discussed already, right? That we discussed about the all these things. So now let's log into the newly created clients. To perform the local client copy, the steps, what steps we have to perform here? Then the first we need to log into the first we need to log into the target client. For target client we have to log in. Then once we log into the target client, then execute the transaction code is called the execute transaction code. So SCCL is for the local client copy. All the client copy related transaction code starts with the SCCL, means local client copy, right? Then enter the profile means, so we have the, suppose like SAP underscore all data, as we speak. So data means which data you are trying to copy. You want to all the data, then all the data, SAP underscore all. You want to only customization means who developed the developers, like developer the development, so those data. And you want to, so only user master data, you want to develop and so user master data, and so and customization, then you can select it. Like that we have the client copy profiles are there. Client copy profiles are there. You need to choose that profiles, right? So let's log into the system here. Now I am in the target client, just entering the SCCL is the target client here, right? See here I have entered the SCCL target client here. Then select the profile here, which profile you want to copy the data, right? So local client copy, to perform the local client copy, first you should know what data you are trying to copy. If you are not sure, then select it SAP underscore all. It may take several hours. Why? Because all the data copying from one client to another client. So if you are sure, I want to only copy the user's data, user master data, which means whatever the users are there in the 001, which client? Suppose which client you want to copy? Maybe 001. Yes, 001. So 001 client is the source client, target client is the 100 client you are copying the data. Suppose take example here, So log into the, so not the 100 client. Okay, log into this client. Okay, log into the 001 client. See how many users are there here, right? See how many users are there here. Why? Because I am trying to copy the user master data. So why I am copying only user master data means, so just for simply it will complete it. So here I can see 8 entries, right? So basis 1, basis 2, so DDIC, Rakesh, Sam1, SB Reddy, Uday. So these are the 8 users are there here, right? So what is my aim is, I want to bring in the 0001 client the users to, so I want to bring to the 100 client, I want to bring it. So in the 100 client, so you see there is no users already. 100 client, we don't have any users here. So if you already check it out here, right? If you go to the SE01, so just if you select it here, start search it, there are no values here, right? Now I'm in the no values. So I'm in the 100 client. You can see here 100 client here. So no data, users data. I want to copy those users and passwords to here as well. So that's why I'm using the SAP underscore all. So if you want to use different transaction, different data you want to bring it, you can bring it. We have the client copy profiles are there. Whatever you want to bring, you can bring it, right? So, but I want to bring the small profile that is called SAP underscore user. right? Which client? 001 client. Then what you have to do now? You have filled the form. Then if you start immediately, it will run in the dialog mode. So what is mean by dialog mode? What is mean by background mode, right? So background means when batch work process will be scheduled, it will run in the back end. Suppose if I schedule the back end, so it will run it, schedule the job, continue, then when job is scheduled, background job is scheduled, then SCC3. You can check the logs in the SCC3. So if any client copy related logs, you can check in the SCC3. SCC3 is the transaction code. You can check the logs, client copy logs, whether the client copy is happening or not, what is the status. So all the information you can check in the SCC3. If you go to the SCC3, so here you can check the what is happening. It is processing. It is processing. How many tables? Out of 103 tables, here 85 tables are copied. See here what is happening. SAP underscore user profile. From source client 001, target client 100 client. What is happening? All the users are getting copied. All the users are getting copied to the target client. So I think it's completed. You can see completed. So 103, 103. How many lines are copied? This much of data copied from the 001 to 100 client, which means I should get the all the data right in the client. Why? Because the client copy is completed here, which means all the data copied here. All the data copied here, which means I should get the all the data. Then if I go to here, previously here in the client, we don't have any values. Now you can see all 8 entries are there here. Why? Because all the data again is received to the here. I am in the so this is the 100 client. This is the 100 client. Yeah, 100 client. We got the all the data. So 0001, we have the 001. We have the 8 users. Same users I have pulled from the here as well. Now, so client copy is completed. Now, can I log in with the 100 client with the same user and passwords? Right, 100 client. I have basis user. Then, can I log in with the same user ID and password? Yes, you can log in. Right. So now, how I log into the systems now? Previously, even DDIC or nothing is worked here. Now, how I am logging to the all the users now? Why? Because I have pulled the users data from so other client to here, other client to this client we have pulled it. So not only this one, from any client to any client within the system, you can copy the data. So that is called the local client copy. So I have pulled the data, right? You can see I have pulled the data, then all users are came to the here, all users are received here. So which means I can log into the DDIC user in 100 client also. I can log into the systems, right? So this is the one local client copy. Locally, you are copying the data. So these are the logs, actually client copy logs we can see in the SCC3 is the transaction code here. We can check in the client copy logs. So not only users data, you can copy any data based upon your requirement. You can copy any data from any client to any client. You can copy the data, right? So this is the one we can do that one. So rightly someone is performing. So while I'm telling the class, someone already performing the so client copies, they are already performing the client copies, right? So you can see here, it's so you can perform it, not a problem. Okay, that is the local client copy. So is it okay? Got it? Any questions from anyone here regarding the local client copy? So sometimes we may get the request from the customer saying that, so please create the new client and copy the data from some 100 client to 200 client or 300 to 400 or 001 to here, please copy the data. Like that, you may get the request. That time you need to act accordingly. Okay, got it? Any questions from anyone regarding the local client copy?
What would be the prerequisites to create a client copy, local client copy?
Okay, prerequisites. So to create the new client, first of all, space would be required here. The space is the very important here. Why? Because within the system only, you don't have much space in the database level. So if you are copying the data means it will create the suppose 2 GB data you are copying from here to here means under the client, there is a 2 GB should be free space would be required, right? So that is the so if I talk about the free space, so here so free space should be required here at the database level. And also so there is a report So one report as a report, where can we execute the reports? So SA38 or SE38 are the transaction code to execute the report. We discussed it already, right? Report executions. Normally, report executions we will do in the reports or programs execution. In this transaction codes, we will perform it. So otherwise, if you want to daily execute, you can schedule the background job like that. Doing the background job administration, we discussed about this report execution. So there is a report, sir. How can we determine the table space and everything? If we go to the SA38 here, there is a RS space check. There is a RS site check and RS space check. There is a report. Okay, RS. So here something is happened, some program error. So there we can check the space related items. We can check it out here. Space items. We can check it out here. Oh, okay. We have one actual ECC production systems where our users are getting logging. So okay, if you go to SA38, so RS, so space RS space check, RS space check. So how much amount of memory is required? So client 100. So table names, so number of tables and all these things. If you fill it, so just click on the execute button. It will display the how much memory required. So table, so it's not copied, but it will display the information, how much tables is required. So all the details you have to fill it. If you execute it, you will get the thing. So these are the report, RS space check or RS site check. So these are the reports we can execute it to check the space, how much space is required. Then free space is required. Then how to check means, so maybe in the file system level also we can check. If it is the Windows, we know already how to check it. So just go to the here. Okay, here you can see the free space is already there. So you don't need to worry about the free space, right? So like that, we can check the free space here. Then once you've done the free space, you got the requirement from which client to which client you have to take it out. Then what is the profile we have to use it. Then what data you need to copy. That profile also you are aware of. Then we can perform it, right? So that is the way we can do that one. Suppose if you see one more method. So I am using the not an SAP underscore all. Maybe you can copy some customization data, right? Just customization data from 3001 to 100 client. So here, if I use test run, it will only run it. It won't copy the data. It won't copy the data. Why? Because testing. I'm testing it here. Then if you run it, background job in the background mode, it will run it. If I run in the dialog mode, start immediately means copy the data in the dialog mode. When you're copying the dialog mode, what will happen? The screen will be freezed. This screen will be freezed here. The screen will be freezed here. So which means we cannot do any other activities until completion of the activity. See here, it is doing now. See here in the back end, it is performing the analysis, client copy and everything. But if the screen is freezed like this only. Why? Because we are doing in the dialog mode. So which means dialog mode you are doing. But see here, your tables are copying. Till then, we cannot do any changes in the systems. Why? Because it is processing now. It is processing. So until completion of the activities, we cannot do anything here. That's why, so SAP, it won't recommend to perform the client copy in the dialog mode. Only remote mode we have to, only background mode we have to perform it. Background mode, right? That is the background mode we have to perform it. So that the job will be created in the back end. The job will perform the client copy. Then our work we can do. Our work means our remaining work we can complete the remaining works, right? So that is what. So we can perform the activity. See here, so dialog mode it is performing. So now as of now only 4% completed. So what about the, if you schedule the background job, then one side background will be then the next side you can carry out the your other work, you can perform it, right? That is the local client copy. Got it, right? Any questions from anyone here? So you can run in dialog mode or background mode, but dialog mode if you are running, so it may take multiple several hours. So because everything you have to schedule in the dialog mode only. So we can copy while the client copy is running, we can stop the transaction code itself, we can stop it, right? The client copy got cancelled. If we go and SCC3, so if you see the client copy got failed, but the lock is happened, then remove the lock, then lock is removed here. Lock is removed here. See here it is cancelled status. We want to retry, then you can retry the same client copy. Out of 9,800 tables, only 600 tables are copied. Only 600 tables are copied. Maybe half 25% tables are copied here, right? So not the 25% also, only less percent was copied, right? So this way we can perform the data, client copy data, we can perform it. So logs we can perform in the system. Here you can SCC3, we can check the logs. It's a very important client copy logs. So why? Because this is the one of the important topic they may ask you during the interview point of time, right? So this is the one of the important topic, right? So the next client copy is the remote client copy. So what does it mean, remote client copy, right? Remote client copy. So remote client copy. So what it is mean by remote client copy? So here within the system, that is fine, right? Local client copy can perform. But my system is not in the like local. I have the remote. Remote means, suppose example, I have one system in the Hyderabad. I have one more system in the Bangalore. So here I have the 100 client. Here I have the 100 client. So I want this client data to here. I want this client data to here. Then how can I perform it here? How can I perform the client copy then? Right, within the system, that whatever we told, right, local client copy, that is fine. But remote client copy, so remote client copy, how to perform the remote client copy? So to perform the remote client copy, within the between the two systems, suppose if I talk about the theoretically the abbreviation wise, so between two systems, between two clients, right? So between two systems and between two clients, two clients to copy the data from one client, from one system to another system. That is the one client to another client within the system. This is the between two systems and between two clients to copy the data from one system to another system client, right? So like this we can so frame the abbreviation, right? Between two systems and two clients we can copy the data, right? Between two systems, two clients, copy the data from this client to this client, we can copy the data. That is called the remote client copy. Remote client copy, we can check it out. Remote client copy, we can do that one, right? That is the remote client copy. Okay, to perform this one, so we have to work on this one, right? So then how to perform this one? So why within the system we can perform it, right? That is fine. But how to perform the remote client copy? So to perform the remote client copy, the prerequisite activities, the pre-steps, which means the pre-steps activities are name, first of all, same. The space we have to check, that is fine. Then what about the next? Then connectivity between the two systems should be work, connectivity, right? So connectivity, the connection, right? The connection should work between the systems, otherwise what happens? Suppose I have one mobile, so suppose you also one mobile, two mobiles means two mobiles, two systems, right? Then I want to copy the some documents from my mobile to your mobile. What I can do here? So then first of all I need to establish the connectivity, right? Bluetooth connectivity. It is outside of the SAP, we will use the Bluetooth connectivity to copy the data from one client to another client. Bluetooth connectivity, right? So then I can copy the data from one client to another client. So that is fine, right? So why? Because So connectivity is established. Then space we have. Then we can use the transaction code. We can use the transaction code is for login to the same. This is also login to the target client. Login to the target client. Target. Login to the target client. Maybe 100 client. Then so select the destination. Destination here we need to additionally. So destination we have to select it. We have to select the destination, then perform the client copy. Same steps. The only thing is here the transaction code is here. SCC9 is the transaction code for the remote client copy. So it's not the R. So SCC9 is the transaction code to perform the remote client copy. We have to perform it, right? This is the remote client copy, remotely copy the data from one client to another. So we have to use the transaction code SCC9, that is fine. But here, one of the important pre-step is like, we should establish the connectivity between the two systems. So suppose in your mobile phone, you can enable the Bluetooth and you can transfer the system, right? Connectivity without establishing the connectivity. How can we transfer it, right? We cannot transfer the data, right? Same as like here, to establish the connectivity between the two systems. So there is a separate topic that is called the remote RFC, which means remote function call, remotely to call the function, that is called the SM59 is the transaction code called for the remote administration, which means RFC administration. So remote functions here, the to want to establish the connectivity normally in a mobile, either the Bluetooth, some other or a share from something like that, you will enable it, then you will transfer the data, right? Here in the SAP, we have one concept is called the SM59 RFC administration. Is SM59 is the transaction code to perform the connectivity between the systems, right? So you can go to the SM59, you can create the connections here. The first one, what we have to do, we have to go log into the, because before you go ahead and create it, first of all, the connectivity should be required, right? So we can just create the connectivity. As to go to the SM59 transaction code, then so create the connectivity. So you can see here, I'm going to the SM59 here. So you can see here. Okay, so SM59 is the transaction code for the RFC connections, right? Here you can create the connections. So what type of connection you have to create it, right? So yours is the mobile, then others is the suppose the laptop, what connection? Yours is the mobile, ours is the not the mobile, third party. What, how can we establish the connectivity? So here we have the types of connections are there, types of RFC connectivity types are there, connectivity types of connectivities. So suppose if you see here, RFC connection types here we have the above to above connection, which means SAP to SAP connection. Then external connections, which means SAP to non-SAP connections, non-SAP, which means Java systems, some third-party applications. Those are the non-SAP applications. Then the third one is the TCP IP connections, then internal connections, right? So internal connections, above internal drivers connections, like that we have the types of connections are there. If your target system is here, you are here, you want to send the data from here to here, then what type of connection? The both are above connections, above system, both are SAP, then you can connection the above connections, you can do that one. So internal TCP IP, external, there are types of connections are there, right? Just click on OK button, then create the connection. So but to create the connection, first of all, remote system should be available, that should be exist, right? Then you can just select the remote, what is the connection? RFC connection, you can execute it. RFC connection, you can suppose I'm creating the connections to the NWD system. Why? Because we have one more system is called the NWD, right? So let's start that NWB system. So then establish the connectivity. Establish the connectivity, system to system connectivity. So which means we can use the RFC connection, remote function call. We can, so which means remotely we can call the connections. I think this won't start. I need to stop one app server. Why? Because due to that virtual memory related issues, it won't start it. So let's see. I stopped this one. Okay, I just stopped it one app server to get the some memory free. Yes, now it is starting. See here, as soon as the memory got free, the work processor getting started here. The work processor getting started here, right? So because here some memories are free here, memory are free here. Now work processor getting started, but it's showing down. Let's wait for some more time. Each work process it required the some amount of memory, right? So that if there is no much memory, SAP it won't start it. SAP it won't start it. That is what happening here. So now let's create the connectivity now. So we have the, so 0 is the instance number. We need to fill the details here. Here we need to fill the details of the your so NWD system. I am creating the connectivity to the NWD, right? I am in the, so PRD system, I am creating the connectivity to the NW. Here you need to fill the, in the technical settings and logon security, these two tabs you have to fill it here, right? In the log technical settings tab, host name, target host name, SAP Windows 1, instance number 00. Like that you have established the so connectivity. Then logon security. Logon security means the connectivity you have established, but so which client it should go and pick up the data? It should go. Suppose here 100 client. I want to data from 100 client. So from R, you want to data to 000 client, 100 client. So then you can create the data. Then what is the user? What is the user you want to maintain? Okay, because which user is authorized to go inside of the systems. So then just click on the connect just button. Then so it will be connection will be created here. See here NWD connection is saved, which means connection is created. Then if you go back and see above connections, so NWD is created. Just click on the connection test. We can see whether the remote system is available or not. It will perform the connection test here, right? So I think this is not available. So we are getting the error message. Why? Anyone knows why we are getting this error? The connectivity is not working here. Why? Because even though system is started, even though system is started and working, the connectivity is not working here. So system is not started. So some issues here. System is not started here. Okay. So what I can do again, I will restart the system. Let's see why it is not starting. Okay, so why it is not working? The connectivity is not working. What went wrong here, right? So here if you observe it, I have given the wrong host name here. Wrong host name I have given here. So that is the reason. So click on the change button. That is the reason it's not working. So I have given the so correct host name here. Then just click on the connectivity test. Then again it is not working. Why? So it's not reached, which means the remote system is down status. The remote system is down here. The remote system is down here. So that's why it's not working. The remote system is not working. And that's why it's down status. So what is the error message here? Work process died here. So DB connect. So DB connect, no incoming request. DB connect is failed. So it's unable to connect to the database. It's unable to connect to the database. So let's stop this one. I'm not sure any changes are happened here or not. Let's start QAS. Multiple application servers created. Okay, so let's start the QAS, whether it will start or not. This is also not getting started. So once it is completely stopped, what we can do, we can, okay, this is completely stopped now, right? So this is also giving error. Resources extracted. This is fine. This is also not getting started. Some restart. Okay. Yes, now it is getting started. You can see it is getting started. All the work process. So there, now it is getting started. But what is this instance number? 20 is the instance number here. 20. So then we need to change the connectivity, not the, so here, so now we need to change the connectivity. So to 20 here. Why? Because correct details we have to fill it. Otherwise, what happens? The connection may fail it. The connection may fail it here. So just I provided the remote connection created. Just click on the connection test. Then this should work. It should work. So connection test to NWD. So about the NWD, so it's like QAS, we have to give it. So it should work it here. But so we have to wait till the system is come to the online status. Any work processor should come to the wait status. Now it should be wait status, right? So then we can perform the test now. So it should work now. So here it is working now. So we got the response. So which means in 285 milliseconds, we got the response from the QAS system. It is working. Previously, it's not worked. So now you know why the RFC connections are not working. Now how it will work. Why? Because the target system is not available. That time the connection may fail it, right? So if the target system is available, the connection will work it out, right? So now the target system is available in the system here. Now let's see the data in the QA system, in the quality system, just to verify the data. What is the data here exists here, right? I don't think we have the data. I think we have the data, I guess, in the system. So let's see why, because this is the part of the migration. We have moved the system to the here. So let's see what are the users are there here. What are the users are there? See here, lot of users are there here, right? Lot of users means we have the 21 entries are there here. 21 entries are there here, right? So I want all these users should be present in the my other systems, my quality systems. I want to present all these systems, right? So how can I do that one? Like log into the target client, which means your PRD system, PRD. So PRD system 100 client. Then you can just use the SCC9 is the transaction code. SCC9 is the transaction code. Then perform the remote client copy. So here you need to select the profile. Which profile you want to, suppose same users I want to copy. What is the destination? So you created the destination to quality, right? So quality. So here saying that no password maintained. So as a best practice, we have to maintain the password. We have to maintain the password for this system, quality systems, right? So you have created the connection, but you have not maintained the any password here. Then go to the logon security tab. Logon security tab. Here maintain the password. Right? So just click on the create button. Then saved. So then just perform the connection test. Yes, connection test is working to the QAS system. This is the QAS. So maybe I can rename it. I can just change the state. I can just rename it to the, go to the here connection, copy to the QAS. Just like that, I have created the connection. This QAS is created. Then copied the connection from other connection to here. Then PRD connection is working now here, right? This is our quality system. So QAS is our quality system. So in the quality system, it is working, right? Quality system, it is working. Then go to the destination, just select the QAS, right? QAS is selected. Then that's fine. What is the client? So in the QAS, so suppose 001, right? You want to 001 client, right? So you have the 001 client. So in the source, we have the source system, right? QoS and client 001. To copying the data to target client is the 100 client, which date and the user client. Previously, within the system only one client to another client. Now, so target system. So you have the target system is there here. So target system means this is the, so source. Source means here, so this is the source. So suppose here this is the QAS is the 001 client. Here I want to copy this data to my PRD 100 client data. I want to copy. So in this case, what I have to do? I need to log into the target client. Target client I have to log in. Target client I have to log into the target client. Then execute the SCC9, select the destination, and perform the client copy. Right. So then here, so I logged into the SCC9 is the transaction code, selected the profile. Here destination we need to select it. Why? Because you have created the destinations to PRD2. So and QAS system, you created the destination. Through this destination, the data will go happen. So how you establish the first of all, Bluetooth connectivity you will establish. Then you will transfer the data from here to here. You will transfer, right? Same as like you can transfer the data here. So then QAS you have selected. Then click on the, so schedule as a background job. You can also schedule immediately foreground mode, but it may take time. Or you can just schedule it. It will complete it. It will complete it here. Just click on the schedule button. Then it will start executing it. It will start executing. It will start executing here, right? It will start executing. So here saying that no password maintained. No password maintained in the connectivity. So let's see, go to the SM59 here, go to the connection, go to the quality connection, check it here whether you have maintained the password or not. No, not maintained the password here. So to log into the target system, the password, the user password should be required here. The user password should be required, and here client is here QAS client. There is no 100 client in the QAS, only 001 client. So the details you have clearly mentioned here. You have to clearly mention the details here. Go to the SCC9 is the transaction code here. Then then perform the select the profile, which profile you want to select it. Then what is the destination? QAS, right? QAS destination. Then start immediately. So if you start immediately, then the data will be transferred. See here, this is getting transferred. The data will be transferred here. So then analysis, then processing the tables. See here. So whatever the data is there here, so all the data getting copied. I am started in the foreground mode. So which means, so here data is there in the QAS, we have the data, right? So that data, so is copying the data from here. If you go to the SM50, the data, so the remote connection, RFC connections will be established to copying the data, right? So one remote connection established here, the one remote connection established. So if you go to the AL08 is the transaction code. See here, one RFC connectivity, and GA connectivity. GA said I logged in here, then so RFC connectivity is happening here, which means the data will transfer this pipe, this connectivity. So when you establish the RFC connectivity between the two systems, the data will flow from here to here. The data will flow here to here. The data will flow through the RFC destination too. So, but this is any country. This is any country, but not a problem. But so we can establish, first of all, we need to establish the connectivity. We can send the data to respect to target system. See here, now data is getting processed. Now data is getting processed to the target system. It is getting processed here, right? So this is the way we can establish the connectivity. This is establish the connectivity. Once you establish the connectivity, you can transfer the data. You can transfer the data to the QAS to what we are doing here. We are pulling the data from QAS to here. We are in the PRD client. So in the why, because in the QAS we have the more data, more users are there. We are pulling to the from here to here. You are getting the data. You no need to create anything. All the passwords, everything you will get from the here 100 client. You will get here PRD 100 client. This is what we are doing. To perform this one, RFC connection should be required here. That's why we have discussed about the one new topic that is called the RFC administration, which means we can create the connections, types of connections. What type of connection you can create it? SAP to SAP? Yes. But what about the SAP to non-SAP also? External connections, TCP/IP, programs connections, internal connections, then above drivers connections. Like that, we have the number of connections are there. We can create it, that connections, right? We can create that connections here. So let's complete this one. Then I can give more. I think it's completed. See, so the client copy already scheduled 100 client. This is successfully completed. Why? Because we have foreground. We have started how much data copied here, how much data deleted here, runtime, how many seconds, 158 seconds. So how many tables, 103 tables, right? Now here in the PRD 100 client, we should get the data now, right? We go to the SE01, just suppose like user master data. So we can see, so how many entries are there here? All the entries are copied. So suppose like here you can see Achut, Basis, CSR, Demo, Kavita, Latif, Rashekar, Snehit, SPRP, and so these all users are there in the so in the QAS system. So all users I copied to the here. Here more users are copied here, right? So same as like local client copy only, but here you are copying, you are doing the remote different systems, you are copying the data. That is what you have done it here, right? So either you can run in the foreground mode, either you can run in the background mode also. You can execute it, run in the foreground or background mode also. You can perform this client copy, right? This is the remote client copy. Remotely you can copy the data from one client to another client, another client to another client. We can copy it within the system. That is the local. Outside of the system, that is the remote client copy. But outside of the system, you have to establish the connectivity. You have to establish the connectivity to the remote system. Remote system, you have to establish the connectivity. So you have to go to the SM59. You can establish the connectivity. So not only above to above connections means only above to above means SAP to SAP. Not only this one. Just you can go to the here. You have the number of connection types are there. Same above to above, application server to the same database. So then internal connections, right? Above to above system, then R2 system, TCP/IP, then external system, external connections, HTTP connection. HTTP connection means, so maybe suppose I can establish the connectivity to the some other data, some other class system also, some other system also. I can establish the system, maybe HTTP sites, banking sites. Suppose the example www.google.com. Suppose I want to some data from Google. Then first of all, the connectivity should be established here. Then save it, right? Click on the connection test. Then connection test is 200. Okay. Then if you go to the response body, then you will see the Google page is opened here, right? So not only above to above, you can establish the connectivity to the some other systems also. You can establish the connectivity. So we are not only so above connection, SAP to SAP, SAP to non-SAP, some program ID connections, TCP, depends upon the situation. You have to establish the connectivity here, right? While establishing the connectivity, make sure you have to correctly fill the target host name and instance number, you have to correctly fill it. So then login security, it's not mandatory, but to store some data in the target client, the user should be authorized, right? This is the user I am maintaining. If you don't maintain the user, then what will happen? The data, just only connectivity will happen. Then who the user is not authorized to go and pick up the data or go and place the data. That's why we have to maintain the user ID and password also right here. So this is the connectivity test we can perform it. And also you can test the authorization test also, whether this user is having valid authorizations or not. So authorization test also working, connection test, authorization test, so both are working. Go to the here utilities text, and here you can just use the remote login. Then you can also remotely log into the target client also, we can log in, right? So both should be in the same versions. The target client also we can log in from here. So that is what we can establish the connectivity. So then SCC9 is the remote client copy, we can use it, right? Till now what we discussed today, local client copy, then RFC connections creation, and the remote client copy. So up to these 3 topics you can prepare it. So what you can do, you can perform the remote RFC connection to the reverse order. Reverse order means now we copied the data from QAS to PRD. Now we can copy the data back to from PRD to QAS system. From different client you can copy the data. Then establish the connectivity. Then first of all establish the connectivity, then you can copy the data. In this way you will get perfect, right? This is the remote client copy. So any questions from anyone here?
Can you please explain about this TCP/IP and internal connections as well?
Yeah, it's a rare cases we will use that TCP/IP. So what does mean? Some programs connectivity. Suppose you want to establish the connectivity to here, already some internal connections are there. So your GUI, SAP GUI connecting means, so it's a like one program ID, it is connected on the systems program IDs. Through program ID it will connected, so that it will open it. Some internal connection, some SLD. Suppose you want to connect to the SLD. So this is the program ID is called, the program ID is called here. Suppose I want to create the connection, suppose like example, so maybe what I can do here, what program? So I don't know any program, let me check, let me give anything, maybe TCP IP example I am giving here, same TCP. So what is the program here? What is the program here? We have to provide it here, the program ID. That is the program, you have to call it here. So the program ID we have to provide it. Suppose like what I can do here.
Is these details will get it from ABAP, since it is a program ID, or is some other team
External
will provide?
program, no, external programs also we can define it, or so within the start on application server, start explicitly on the different host, target host also we can define it. Target host means some connections, some ABAP connections, some connections are target system which are non-ABAP systems. Suppose Documentum, Oracle, these are the non-SAP systems. So how they want to connect it, how we want to send the data, right? We want to send the data to them, we have to register that connection from here. We have to register that one. So here that program ID, what is the target host, we have to define this one. Then connection test, right? Click on the connection test. So it should work it. So through this destination, the data will be moved to the here. So which means that program from their side, the program must be exist. There also should be configured the same configuration from their side also. Means our SAP system details they have to configure from our side also. Our SAP system they have to configure from our side also. They have to configure our SAP system details. Then only this it will work it out. Then only it will work. Otherwise it won't work. So whatever you are giving, it will work. So we have to work it out here, but here it is not working. So because here we don't have any target system, we don't have like this, there is no programs, nothing like this. So that's why it won't work it out. If any third party system is there, that time the third party system, what is the program they said it is using. Then suppose like if you have the Java system, suppose if we create the Java system, that time it will work. Java system is the non-ABAP system. So we will get the program ID. If we go to the SLD or Java NWA, we will get the one program ID. That program ID you can map to the here. So the same program ID we can create it here. Both the side same program IDs, then it should work. That time we can create this connectivity. We can create it. It's the connection.
Here program ID is nothing but what is that?
The called program ID, the calling program ID, which means so both the systems should call the one common name. That is the program ID. We have to provide it. Suppose previously we had the PI/PO systems, right? PI systems, right? PI means ABAP stack and Java stack. So this is the ABAP stack. This is the Java stack. The Java stack is the non-ABAP systems. So when you are calling this system, you cannot directly call to the non-ABAP systems. Through one program, you have to reach to this system, right? Through one program, you have to reach it. At the same time, this system also should establish the similar connectivity to the our system with the same program. So both the systems will pointing to the same program ID. So then to ABAP to Java, the connectivity will work. Here it is not only Java system. Here it is maybe some documentum services, some third-party sites, third-party, anything we can establish the connectivity. But that should be has the capability to connect our SAP systems. So which means our SAP host name, program ID, everything should be exist. It's one of the common name, not only this one. One of the common name we have to establish it. One of the common name we have to establish. So some programs, some exe folders, something one common program we have to provide it here. So by default, normally default we have some programs it will be created, right? Some programs it will be created. That programs we can see it here internally. That internally our functionalities will call the here as per coding internally it will call the so this forms and everything it will call it.
So these program IDs we need to get, we need to identify it, or else ABAP team or else function team will provide to us.
They will provide to us. How can we know which program? And so they will provide to us. Normally, rare cases we will create the TCP/IP. So normally, otherwise we won't create any connections here. So rare cases, but most of the cases ABAP connections and HTTP connections are more here. So more we will create it. Normally we won't touch any TCP/IP these connections. Suppose you have the TREX. Suppose example TREX connection. So in this case, this is a TREX like that. This is a TREX. Normally TREX we will use for the searching functionality. Searching functionality in SAP, we will use the TREX here. So when you are connecting to the TREX directly, it won't work because this is the non-SAP system, non-ABAP system. So then it won't work it directly. Then, so while creating the connection to here, you need to provide the one connection name like so TREX underscore SID. You are creating the one program ID. You are creating here. This is program ID. You are registering. So SAP side, when you are connecting back to TREX, then same program ID you have to register here. Then only the both the side the connectivity will work. Otherwise, the connectivity it won't work at all. So here we are defining manually. We are defining and we are creating the connection here in the name of TREX underscore SID. If you see in your landscape, as in the real-time landscape, we have the connectivity in the TCP/IP. So that time they will maintain the connectivity like TREX underscore SID. Then TREX side also they will do the some connection here. Both the side the ID should be matching. Then only the connectivity will work. Otherwise, the connection it won't work. If you have the TREX system, we can configure it. If you have the Java systems, then we can configure it. Anyhow, we are going to discuss about the Java administration also, right, in this batch. So you will get like more, you will get that time. So we can just create the one connection to Java systems also. That time it will be Jaco connection. We call the Java, right? Java Jaco connections we can create it. Maybe if you are in the real time, so if you have the systems already, then check that the Java Jaco connections, how it is connecting to your backend ABAP systems.
Yeah.
Okay, so please practice it. So I'm stopping here today. We discussed so some more topics.